Do you have an old Johnson or Evinrude, a workhorse that powered generations of boaters? Or have you spent cash on Mercury Racing, the benchmark for high-performance outboards? Even the most legendary engines can be destroyed by everyday bad habits. Small mistakes that grind away at pistons, chew up gearcases, and choke cooling systems until the engine gives out. And the worst part, the damage starts long before you see the smoke. Today we're pulling the cover off the 10 mistakes silently killing boat engines everywhere, and once you see the evidence, you'll never run yours the same way again. Too eager to get out or poor time planning? One of the easiest ways to shorten your boat engine's life is starting it cold and immediately putting it under load. So consider this while you're waiting for your buddies on the dock. When a marine engine has been sitting, whether overnight or for weeks, oil drains down into the sump or lower areas. On restart, it takes several seconds for the oil pump to circulate lubricant back to critical components, like pistons, cylinder walls, camshafts, and bearings. If you start your journey, putting the boat in gear and increase RPMs too quickly, those parts are moving at higher speeds before they have a proper oil film, leading to increased friction and accelerated wear. This is especially important for older carbureted two-stroke outboards, like classic Johnson or Evinrude 9.9 HP models. These engines don't have modern electronic fuel injection or automatic cold start enrichment, so they require a short idle period to stabilize fuel delivery and combustion. Without this warm-up, incomplete combustion can cause plug fouling, carbon buildup, and rough running. Even modern four-stroke engines benefit from a brief warm-up, about 2 to 3 minutes, before applying significant throttle. This allows oil temperature and viscosity to stabilize, ensuring consistent lubrication and reducing cold start wear. It also gives the cooling system time to establish proper flow, which is especially important if your engine uses raw water pickup. In short, patience at startup pays off in engine life. Now, do you think skipping a warm-up is bad? Wait until you hear number 10. It's the silent killer of more boat engines than anything else. Stick around till the end so you don't make that mistake, and hit subscribe so your engine lasts, not just your boating season. Are you one of those guys that wants to test his whole shot straight out of the marina? Another habit that's tough on your engine is applying full throttle right after startup or running it at maximum RPM for extended periods. Marine engines, especially non-performance models like the Mercury 115 horsepower 4-stroke, are designed for balanced cruising, not continuous high-rev punishment. Internal components such as connecting rods, bearings, and pistons depend on stable oil pressure and temperature to operate reliably. When you floor it before the engine has reached proper operating temperature, the oil is still thick and lubrication pathways may not be fully primed. This increases friction and stress on moving parts. Prolonged high RPM operation also accelerates wear. For example, Mercury's own guidelines for the 115 horsepower 4-stroke specify an operating range of 5,000 to 6,000 RPM, but not as a continuous setting for hours on end. Running at or near wide open throttle for long stretches can lead to overheating, premature wear, and reduced engine life, especially in warm ambient conditions or under heavy load. The ideal approach is to let the engine warm up for a couple of minutes, then build speed gradually. On long runs, operate just below maximum cruising RPM, often called the sweet spot, where fuel efficiency and mechanical strain are optimized. This keeps internal temperatures stable, reduces stress, and maximizes the service life of your engine. The dreaded crunch. What goes through your mind when you hear someone constantly struggling with this habit? This will wear out your drivetrain for sure, shifting directly from forward to reverse or reverse to forward without pausing in neutral. Outboard and stern drive gearcases generally use a dog clutch system to engage gears. This setup relies on metal lugs, dogs that slide into matching recesses on the gear to lock it in place. If you shift under load or without a brief pause, these dogs can clash instead of meshing cleanly, chipping edges and creating excessive wear. Lower units on smaller or budget-oriented outboards are especially vulnerable because their gears and clutch components are lighter and less tolerant of repeated shock loading. Over time, the damage may cause the engine to jump out of gear, grind, or fail to engage at all, issues that often require costly gearbox repairs or a full lower unit replacement. Best practice is to reduce the throttle to idle, pass briefly through neutral, and then engage the opposite gear with a firm but not forceful motion. This allows the engine and propeller to slow down enough for the clutch dogs to seat properly. Following this habit not only extends the life of your gearbox, but also keeps shifts smooth and reduces wear on control linkages. Or if you're really unlucky, enough hard gear changes can loosen your prop nut, and you could be grabbing a snorkel to save your propulsion. Fuel problems are among the most common and preventable causes of engine trouble. High-performance models like the Mercury Racing 400R are especially sensitive to fuel quality. This engine is designed to run on a minimum of 89 AKI, and using lower grades can cause detonation or knock, without knock sensors or electronic controls to adjust ignition timing. Detonation can quickly damage pistons, rings, and cylinder walls. Ever leave fuel sitting between seasons, or even multiple seasons? Old or degraded fuel is another hazard. Ethanol-blended petrol absorbs moisture from the air, leading to phase separation, where water and alcohol settle at the bottom of the tank. This mixture can corrode fuel systems and cause hard starting, poor performance, or even stalling. Clogged fuel filters from debris or varnish buildup restrict flow, starving the engine at higher RPMs. Or do you keep forgetting to hit the fuel station? Running the tank too low can also draw air, water, or sediment into the system, leading to airlocks and all sorts of other problems that could leave you stranded. For performance and reliability, always use the manufacturer-recommended octane, replace fuel filters at least annually, and avoid ethanol blends above E10 unless the engine is rated for them. If storing the boat, fill the tank and add a marine-grade stabilizer to prevent oxidization and phase separation during downtime. Salt water is one of the most aggressive threats your engine will ever face, and you need to be its protector. Ignoring corrosion protection is an almost guaranteed way to shorten its life. Even engines marketed for saltwater use, like Mercury's Optimax and Saltwater series, can suffer serious damage if not cared for properly. Corrosion attacks both visible and hidden components, anything from the lower unit and propeller hub to steering hubs, electrical connections, and cooling passages. The danger comes from salt's ability to retain moisture and act as an electrolyte, accelerating the electrochemical reaction that eats away at metals. This process is even faster when dissimilar metals are in contact, as in the case of stainless steel fasteners mounted to aluminium housings. See that calc buildup or rust forming? Attack it quick. Internal corrosion is equally destructive. Saltwater residue left inside cooling passages can cause blockages, pitting, and eventual leaks into the powerhead. Prevention requires a multi-step approach. Start with regular freshwater flushing after every saltwater outing, allowing water to circulate long enough to rinse out hidden areas. Inspect and replace sacrificial anodes at least annually. They're designed to corrode instead of your engine. Keep all external surfaces clean and apply a corrosion inhibitor spray to exposed metal parts, focusing on bolts, linkages, and electrical connectors. What's your go-to product? Neglecting these steps won't cause instant failure, but over a season or two, corrosion can turn a reliable engine into a costly rebuild or replacement project. In saltwater, prevention isn't optional, it's survival. Now, if you think skipping the manual sounds harmless, think again. It's the reason so many engines fail long before their time. But number 10, that one's even worse, and it's the mistake that can turn a perfectly good motor into scrap in a single winter. Stick around so you don't find out the hard way, and subscribe while you're at it. Thought about penny pinching on brands, or no idea what the string of numbers and letters mean on the bottles? Well, you might want to learn. Oil is the lifeblood of your marine engine, and using the wrong type, or failing to change it on schedule, can have devastating effects. Marine engines operate under heavier and more varied loads than most automotive engines. They often run at higher RPM for longer periods and in humid, corrosive environments. Four-stroke outboards in particular generate more internal heat and pressure, which means they depend on oil with the correct viscosity, additive package, and marine-specific anti-corrosion properties. Using oil not specified by the manufacturer can compromise lubrication and protection. Over time, sludge can form, oil passages can narrow, and moving parts can wear prematurely. Skipping regular oil and filter changes has a similar effect. Old oil loses viscosity, accumulates contaminants, and can't dissipate heat as effectively. Manufacturers typically recommend oil changes every 100 hours of operation or once a season, whichever comes first. Gear case oil should also be changed on the same schedule, as it can become contaminated with water through worn seals. Yes, remember to check the seals. And a pro tip: lubricate the seals as well. Following these intervals and using the specified oil ensures consistent lubrication, optimal performance, and maximum protection against wear and corrosion. Skipping these basics is an expensive shortcut no boater should take. Marine engines rely on a constant flow of water to regulate temperature, and any disruption in that flow can quickly lead to overheating, unlike cars which use closed-loop coolant systems. Most outboards and many inboards pull water directly from the environment. This makes them vulnerable to debris, marine growth, or even a plastic bag blocking the intake. A restricted flow means the engine can't shed heat fast enough, causing metal components to expand aggressively, gaskets to fail, and oil to lose its protective properties. Ever watched your temperature gauge suddenly rise? The most common culprit is a worn or damaged impeller in the water pump. Impellers are made of flexible rubber vanes that degrade over time, especially if run dry, even for a few seconds. Cracks, missing pieces, or stiffness reduce pumping efficiency. Thermostat failure is another risk. If it sticks closed, water circulation drops and the engine overheats rapidly. Performance inboard engines are particularly prone to damage from overheating because they often operate at higher power outputs, generating more heat, and often the donut behind the wheel forgets to put the blowers on. But they also have tighter tolerances, meaning a brief temperature spike can cause measurable harm. Preventative care is straightforward. Inspect and replace the impeller annually or every 300 hours, keep intakes clear, and ensure the thermostat is functioning correctly. Catching water flow problems early can save your engine from severe and costly damage. And watch out what debris you drive over. Tired after a long day in the sun and just want to moor up and get home? If you run your boat in salt water and don't flush the engine afterward, you're inviting corrosion, mineral buildup, and long-term performance loss. Don't be lazy. Salt crystals can form quickly inside the cooling passages, on metal surfaces, and around fittings once the water drains. These deposits hold moisture, accelerating corrosion and narrowing internal waterways, which in turn reduces cooling efficiency. Over time, this can lead to overheating, pitting of metal components, and even complete blockage of critical passages. This risk isn't limited to saltwater-related engines. Boats designed primarily for freshwater, such as certain wake and ski models, are often less protected internally against salt intrusion. If these boats are taken into saltwater without immediate and thorough rinsing, damage can occur even faster than on salt-optimized models, especially with all the drenched kids constantly jumping in and out of the boat. Corrosion doesn't discriminate, it simply attacks whatever is most exposed. The solution is simple and effective. Use the manufacturer's recommended flushing method after every saltwater trip. For outboards, that usually means connecting a garden hose to the flush port or using earmuffs over the water intakes. Running fresh water through the cooling system for 10 to 15 minutes. Inboard systems often have dedicated flush adapters for the same purpose. And flood your boat in the right spots. Don't hold back with the hose. Consistently rinsing after saltwater use is one of the cheapest and most effective ways to extend your engine's life. Straight in the glove box, never to be seen again. Many boat owners underestimate the value of the manufacturer's manual, but it contains the exact maintenance schedule, service intervals, and specifications your engine was designed around. Skipping these recommendations often leads to premature wear, reduced performance, and costly repairs. The manual doesn't just tell you when to change oil or filters. It also specifies torque values, lubrication points, alignment checks, and even storage procedures that vary between engine types. Some engines are more forgiving than others. Honda and Yamaha outboards, for example, have built reputations for long service life, partly because many owners adhere strictly to the maintenance guidelines. On the other hand, owners who neglect schedules, missing spark plug changes, gear lube inspections, or valve adjustments often see issues develop sooner, particularly on engines that already have tighter tolerances. More money than sense. Neglecting alignment checks on certain stern drive models can lead to accelerated wear on couplers and U-joints. Failing to replace sacrificial anodes or change water pump impellers at recommended intervals can shorten the life of any engine, regardless of brand. The manual exists to prevent these problems before they start, so don't let it gather dust in the cabin. Following it precisely is one of the easiest ways to maximize engine reliability, protect retail value, and avoid sudden breakdowns that can ruin an entire boating season. If you're really keen, you can even fill out the included maintenance schedule. Do you just bang it on the trailer, stick it under a tarp, and assume next season will be all good? Failing to winterize a boat engine is one of the quickest ways to turn a reliable motor into an expensive repair job. When temperatures drop, any water left in the cooling system, manifolds, or exhaust components can freeze, expand, and crack metal or plastic parts. Even a small amount of trapped water can split a block or housing, leading to catastrophic failure before spring. The risks and steps vary depending on the engine type. Stern drives and raw water-cooled inboards are most vulnerable because their cooling systems draw directly from the environment and hold water in multiple passages. These must be fully drained or filled with marine-grade antifreeze to prevent freezing. Closed cooling systems are less prone to freeze damage in the engine block itself, but still require draining and protecting the raw water side, including heat exchangers and exhaust components. Fuel systems also need attention. Untreated fuel can degrade over the off-season. Remember, we said this earlier, causing varnish buildup, injector clogs, or phase separation in ethanol blends. Stabilizing the fuel or draining the tank entirely prevents these issues. Battery care, corrosion protection, and proper storage ventilation round out the process. Winterizing isn't just a precaution for extremely cold climates. It's essential anywhere freezing temperatures are possible, or your boat is going to sit unattended. Skipping it even once can mean a repair bill higher than the boat's value. If you're really worried, some people even shrink wrap for the winter. Now that is boat care. Have you learnt anything here? We hope so. Most boat engine failures are not caused by age. They happen because of avoidable mistakes. Service records show that neglecting simple care like flushing after saltwater use or using the wrong oil leads to more breakdowns than actual mechanical defects. That means the life of your motor is largely in your control. Every habit we have covered, from warming up properly to winterizing, can either add years of service or shorten it by thousands of hours. Ignore them and you could face repairs that cost more than your boat. Follow them and you will enjoy smoother trips, fewer breakdowns, and a healthier engine for years. If this video helped you spot a bad habit, give it a like, share it with other boaters, and subscribe so you never miss tips that keep you on the water instead of waiting at the dock for a tow.